Pippa and the Moonlight Garden. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a golden glow over the peaceful village nestled among forests and streams, where the day was slowly giving way to twilight. Pippa, a little girl with bright, curious eyes, stepped out of her cozy cottage, eager to explore the world beyond her doorstep. She wandered through a meadow bathed in the last light of day, where the tall grass and wildflowers swayed gently in the breeze, glowing in the warm embrace of the setting sun. As she walked, a mysterious silver light caught her eye, shimmering through the trees of the darkening forest, beckoning her closer. Intrigued, Pippa followed the glowing light deeper into the forest, her heart pounding with excitement as the trees grew thicker around her. The silver light grew brighter, guiding Pippa to the entrance of a hidden garden that seemed to glow with an otherworldly radiance. She stepped into the Moonlight Garden, her eyes widening in awe as she took in the shimmering plants and glowing flowers that surrounded her. The garden was alive with vibrant, magical flowers in shades of turquoise, violet, and gold, each one softly glowing in the gentle moonlight. At the garden's center stood an ancient tree, its silver leaves shimmering like stars and its branches heavy with glowing, rainbow-colored fruits. Pippa reached out, her hand trembling with anticipation, to touch one of the enchanting fruits hanging from the tree. As her fingers brushed against the fruit, it burst open, releasing a cloud of sparkling dust that filled the air with magic. To her amazement, Pippa began to float upward, her giggles echoing through the garden as she rose above the glowing plants and flowers. Suddenly, tiny, winged moonlight fairies appeared, their delicate wings fluttering as they circled around the floating Pippa, welcoming her with joyous laughter. The fairies gently guided Pippa through the magical garden, leading her past shimmering flowers and glowing vines that seemed to dance in the moonlight. They brought her to the pool of reflection, where the water's surface shimmered with images of her happiest memories, playing out like scenes from a dream. Pippa smiled warmly as she saw herself laughing with her friends, the images in the pool filling her heart with joy and nostalgia. The fairies then led her to the singing lilies, where beautiful flowers began to hum enchanting melodies that filled the air with music. Curious, Pippa reached out and touched one of the lilies, and it responded by singing a sweet, calming lullaby that wrapped around her like a warm blanket. Pippa and the fairies twirled and danced around the singing lilies, their laughter and the music blending into a symphony of joy. The fairies then taught Pippa the ancient art of wishing upon falling stars, showing her how to capture the magic of the night sky. With a gentle smile, Pippa caught a moonbeam in her hands, marveling at its soft glow as it illuminated her face in the darkened garden. As the night deepened, the first light of dawn began to creep into the sky, signaling the end of her magical adventure. The fairies gathered around Pippa, their wings fluttering softly as they prepared to say goodbye, the dawn light casting a gentle glow on their delicate forms. The fairy leader approached Pippa, her voice gentle and kind as she told her that it was time to return home. Pippa nodded, feeling a bittersweet mix of sadness and gratitude as she prepared to leave the magical world behind. The fairies sprinkled her with sparkling dust once more, wrapping her in a warm, glittering embrace as they sent her on her way. Pippa floated gently back down to the ground, watching as the magical garden slowly faded away, leaving her standing alone in the familiar forest. She stepped out of the fading garden, finding herself back in the forest she knew so well, now bathed in the soft light of the early morning. As the last trace of the silver light disappeared, the forest around her was left in the serene and gentle glow of dawn. With a heart full of joy and memories, Pippa walked back home through the forest, her mind replaying every magical moment of her adventure. She arrived back at her cozy cottage just as the village began to stir, the first signs of life appearing in the early morning light. Her mother greeted her with a warm hug, a smile on her face as she asked where Pippa had been during the night. Pippa smiled mysteriously, her eyes sparkling with the secret of her adventure, and simply said, "I found a magical place." They sat down together for breakfast, the morning light streaming through the windows, filling the room with warmth and comfort. As they ate, Pippa glanced out the window, her thoughts drifting back to the moonlight garden and the wonders she had discovered. Suddenly, a small, silver butterfly fluttered past the window, its delicate wings catching the light as it danced in the air. Pippa's eyes lit up with surprise and delight as she recognized the butterfly from the magical garden. She watched as the butterfly fluttered away into the bright blue sky, disappearing into the distance, leaving her with a sense of wonder. Pippa whispered softly to herself, "Good night, Moonlight Garden." Until we meet again, a peaceful smile on her face as she imagined her next adventure. The scene closed with a peaceful view of the village, now fully awake in the bright morning light, the day ahead full of promise and possibilities.